We, the internet-loving people, want super-fast internet where we can download 25 songs in 1 second. To show you how super fast that is, here's 25 songs in 1 second. Pretty sweet, right? DJ, give them another 25. Now, hit them with something they can dance to. You feeling that? Oh, yeah. Super fast internet. AT&T Fiber.
Limited availability. Speeds vary, not guaranteed. Speed and time examples or estimates. Visit att.com/getfiber for details.
The Emerging Artists Series. The Emerging Artists Series, for me, is a great opportunity to get to know some really talented people and give them some exposure to share their talent with the world. I believe that some of the most talented people are not famous at all. We document that struggle to live the dream of doing what you love while trying to keep the lights on. Hopefully, through this program, people can gain inspiration, some perspective, and find artists who they really like and support them. I'm Alan Wayne. Witness the emergence, only on the Indie Star Network. Welcome to this edition of the Emerging Artists Series on Indie Star Radio. Today I have the privilege to interview a band I have followed on Deep Elm Records for quite some time. This group combines heartfelt songwriting with emotive, strong melodies, eliciting a wide variety of emotions from joy to heartbreak. In other words, their music actually makes you feel something. Fans of Mumford & Sons and of Monsters and Men will love this act, but listen long enough and I challenge anyone to find a track that they don't love. From upstate New York, TJ, Jordan, and their lovely wives Lauren and Ashley make up the band Accents. Enjoy. Thank you for listening to the Emerging Artists Series here on the Indie Star Network. This is Alan Wayne here, and I am very happy to have with me today the group Accents out of New York. Say hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
All right. Introduce yourselves for the folks listening at home.
My name is TJ. I am a Scorpio. I am 6'1", and I have a beard.
All right.
I'm Jordan. I wear a black t-shirt and I play guitar.
All right, black t-shirt, guitar goes together. And the ladies.
I'm Lauren, and I can't think of anything else interesting to say.
Well, Lauren, I believe, does play the trumpet, so that's interesting to me.
I do.
And last.
I'm Ashley, and that was my dog Luna that you just heard barking. Sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. We don't strive for the cut and clip. I'm all about one take. So
she really wanted to be interviewed today. So.
Well, that's great, Luna, the mascot of Accents. So,
pretty much.
So let's perhaps we better start from the beginning. Accents. When did this group come together? TJ, Jordan, when did this, originally, if I read correctly, TJ, this was kind of a pet project of yours, sir?
It was kind of a pet project. I think I started writing songs for it 2010 maybe. Nothing really materialized until 2012, but it was kind of me. Our old drummer, actually, we kind of recorded our first album pretty much over the internet. You know, he lived in Virginia, I lived in New York, and we just kind of sent tracks back and forth. Kind of pulled like a postal service.
Postal service. I was going to say you pulled a postal service.
Yeah.
Instead of using the mail, we used 21st century technology, and it was really hip and awesome.
Right.
Gmail.
Sending MP3s left and right, stacking it up in the recording decks and seeing how it sounded.
Yep.
That's cool.
No, it worked out well. So that's kind of that's the humble beginnings, I guess you could say. Acoustic guitar and a bedroom.
Very cool, very cool. So you released your album Growth and Squalor in 2012. What were you doing in between 2010 and 2012? A lot of emailing, obviously, but what else was going on in that time between the time you started Accents to the time Growth and Squalor came out?
Well, I'm pretty sure we watched like 4 seasons of Dexter during that time frame between 2010 and 2012. So
there you go.
That took up a lot of time. TJ and I were also in another band for a while called Cast for the Break, and so we were doing some stuff off and on with that band still during that time frame as well. So I think that's why it took a few years for Growth and Squalor to materialize itself.
Right. And Cast Before the Break is also available on Deep Elm as well as your material?
That is correct.
Oh, that's great. That's
Deep
great.
Elm's very good to us.
That's great. That's wonderful. I have to agree. I have the show From the Deep on here, as well as just a large respect for John and what he does. So, how did you guys get hooked up with Deep Elm, and how did that go? Was it cast before the break was hooked up, and then TJ was like, "Oh, by the way, I have this other project." Is that how it happened?
Yeah, it did start with the cast. So we, it was funny way back in the college days when the cast before the break started. We were big fans of Moving Mountains, who their first release got put out on Deep Elm. So that got on our radar at that point, as well as all the Appleseed cast stuff. And
we kind of rekindled our love for that label at that point.
Yeah.
But then it was some friends of ours in another band who ended up releasing some music on Deep Elm in the band Athletics.
Yes, I love Athletics.
Yeah, we went to school with them, and in fact, the drummer for them, John Cannon, he played bass with the cast for the break for our first run through shows, and he played drums with us for a little while too. So,
cool.
He had remained big fans of ours and ended up putting John in touch with us and getting him some of our music. So, we owe them a lot. So we really appreciated that.
Very cool. Very cool. So with all of this going on, you release Growth and Squalor. Now, I'm going to embarrass you guys. I found some reviews of Growth and Squalor up online here, and I'd like to read them. I mean, very, very like the world just came to its senses when Accents released Growth and Squalor. I mean, it was one of those types of albums that people were saying you see like once in a lifetime. And I got to say, I listened through it, and it was very well written, very well constructed. And here's what it says here. It says, Accents, this is on the Deep Elm website, by the way, Accents came out of nowhere and in a big way with an astonishingly mature debut that oozes with indie rock bliss. I mean, doesn't that just make you guys like, whoa, we impressed?
Yes. I just like the fact that the word oozes was used. You don't see that very often in band descriptions, so that works for me.
Yeah, it continues. I live for surprises like this. It's quite stunning how brilliantly Growth and Squalor is constructed, the combined result of a genuine, honest, and often heartbreaking songwriting of T.J. Foster. Ooh. Matched with production. Yeah, matched with production whiz Benjamin Hemingway and Ben Knack for making the sweet sound even sweeter. All Right With Me in the Fog showcases the duo's ability to craft hooks that can't be denied. Now, All Right With Me was great. That's the one with the video, right? The video of like an office worker, is that right? Or am I completely off base?
No, sort of like, an office worker kind of...
And robots.
Yeah, an office worker and robots. And I saw that video and I thought, man, what were they thinking about when they made that video? What were you guys thinking about when you made that video? It was a pretty deep video.
I was mostly thinking this is the first time I've had so much makeup on my face. It was kind of crazy. It went all out. My brother Justin was actually the one who directed the video, so it was pretty cool working with him. And I know him and TJ were the ones who kind of came up with the concept for it. So TJ can speak a little bit about that.
We were both kind of thinking of how to kind of relate where we were at from a societal standpoint and how kind of technology is taking over our relationships. This dog is wheezing in front of me. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
But yeah, just kind of, I mean, you see in the video, everyone kind of just turns into these robotic sort of figures, kind of like they go to their 9 to 5, they come home, blah, 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 and then Lauren kind of plays the light, so to speak, in the video, where she's kind of the only one who's remaining human and kind of like, get out of this funk and all that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was an extra.
Ashley was an extra in this video. Yeah,
She wasn't in the band yet.
Her first foray into Accents territory, actually.
She held an iPhone really well. She was really...
There's a light away. Like the light that still flickers in your head. I won't blame you for trying to find darkness. It's alright with me, it's alright with me, it's alright with me. Hey! You climb down from where your heart escaped you. Travel the world in second hand. I'll try keeping the devil in the rear view. That's alright with you, that's alright with you, that's alright with you. And we'll fade into it. Put a faith into and oh, I've got this company that pulls me from my seat. I'm alright for you, I'm alright for me, I'm alright. Been wandering for years among the statues of beings with much more sense than I. Time isn't endless and it could leave us soon. If you're alright with me, I'm alright with me, I'm alright with me. If you're alright with me, I'm alright with me, I'm alright with me. And I'll fade into it. Put a faith into it. Oh, I've got this company that pulls me from my seat. I'm alright for you, I'm alright for me, I'm alright. I'm alright for you, I'm alright for me, I'm alright. I'm alright for you, I'm alright for me, I'm alright.
With now I'm looking on the Deep Elm page, and you guys just have so many great reviews on Growth and Squalor. What happened after it released and you saw all these great reviews? What happened when you saw, oh my gosh, we might actually be putting something out there that a lot of people are going to listen to and a lot of people are going to like?
I remember, I know John sent the record around before it's released to a bunch of press outlets, and I think it was a couple days before the album release. He kind of sends Ben and I this email that was like, "Hey, don't get your heads in the clouds or whatever like this, but here's the first review I just got back," and it was just like this amazingly well written, just stellar review, and I just kind of got chills. I got very excited. It was very surprising, but very encouraging, and I don't know. It still amazes me to this day the reception that record got, considering how it was kind of written and put together.
Yeah, it just reading through it, as I said, it seemed like it was a heart-stopping moment in some people's minds. A lot of reviewers were very, very, very impressed by what you were doing, and I mean from all over the map, from different press outlets and different places. Just everybody was impressed. So after the album released, like a month later, were you getting phone calls to go play? Did your live? Did you guys actually play live? I mean, I know you did a lot of sending back and forth. Did you guys think, well, now we're going to have to play live? Great. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, that's essentially what happened.
That's pretty much exactly how it went.
Yeah, that's how Tall Tales kind of came about.
Yeah.
Really.
We kind of got in a room. I mean, obviously, Jordan and I had played together for a while, so it was an obvious fit to have him come in and handle the electric guitar stuff. And Lauren had already done pipe down. But Lauren had already done vocals on the record, so she was familiar with all the songs. And we kind of got in a room and just decided, let's try playing some of these songs. And it was kind of one of those magical moments that was like, shit, this is it. This is fun.
Yeah.
And we played some shows off Growth and Squalor. It was admittedly a little tough because those songs are very stripped back. We kind of did what we could, and when we got into Tall Tales, not to segue you or anything, but we kind of wanted to do things a little more upbeat, have some more upbeat, live-friendly songs, get a bit more anthemic, because I'm sure you heard the transition.
Oh yeah. The transition from Growth and Squalor to Tall Tales is absolutely, night and day. Night and day. It really is. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sounded like you guys were going to say something. I apologize. I'm sorry. So you guys met together, and this is the other members who played with you on this album. It was Benjamin Hemingway, right? And you guys also had a bass player, and you really put together a 5-piece sound. In transitioning, was there difficulty to it, or did you feel like, now we can let loose, bust out, do a lot more with this album?
It was, there was definitely some transition, in trying to find what our sound would be as a 5-piece. We kind of, started working on a few songs. Before we even recorded Tall Tales, we went and recorded a few songs just on a weekend, just a few of the songs that we weren't thinking were going to make the Tall Tales cut, but we just wanted to kind of get our feet wet with all of us recording together. And so it did take us a little while to kind of figure out what direction we want to go. Mm-hmm. As far as a 5-piece goes, I would say.
Yeah, and I think one thing to keep in mind too is that all the songs basically on Tall Tales, they started the same way that they did in Growth and Squalor, where it was just kind of me in a bedroom, just kind of writing these. The only difference was I sent a ton of voice memos around to the band, and it kind of took shape from there.
Why'd you spend so much time in your bedroom?
Yeah, TJ spent a lot of time in his bedroom writing songs.
So that's what the kids call it. So that's what the kids call it nowadays, writing songs.
Exactly, yeah. I wrote like 4 songs a day.
That's impressive. That's impressive, man. Whew, hats off to you. So you're just pumping out songs left and right, and just cranking them out. Just throwing them all over the place. Just letting your creativity flow out of your hands there. So Tall Tales, when you actually got in the studio to record it, was it more difficult than recording a more stripped down Growth and Squalor, or was it actually easier to have all those instruments kind of melding together?
Man, what a tough question.
Warren, what do you think?
We ask the tough questions here. No.
It was a little bit of both. I think there were times where no, it's true though. There were times where it felt very, very natural, and there was a lot of synergy. And there were times where we kind of got stuck, where songs almost got too big, and we kind of got a little lost. I think one in particular was Storybook Man, which was really just Lauren and I and a ukulele. Yeah. And we were like, okay, this song has the potential to be something different. And we tried, we tried 100 different things.
Different versions of that.
So there's a ton of different versions of that song, and it took a really long time to take shape. And I think even to this day, we listen back to that song and we're like, maybe that song could have just been the stripped down ukulele track, and I don't know.
Yeah. When you get in a room with everyone, especially when it's like a first album recording with like a certain group of people, I think there's a certain mindset, even if no one speaks it out loud, of trying to get everyone as involved as possible throughout it. Mm-hmm. And I think on that album that happened a few times where we were like, okay, we can't have that much stripped down stuff. We got to add some more instruments and stuff like that. But I I also think that's what made the album sound as big as it did, which we're really happy with. But I do think that comes up when you have like a new group of people kind of recording an album together. So it is a challenge. It's a challenge to find that balance.
And then there was moments where it was just everything kind of just clicked, and I'm trying to think of that one in particular where everything just kind of might have been during it was Artist, was it?
I believe it was when we were recording that song, "Smells Like Teen Spirit." It was like this moment. I was like, "This is it. This is the one."
Yes, exactly. We're going to change the entire landscape of music.
I felt it. I felt it that day.
Admittedly, that was all the cocaine you were doing. But it's okay.
While he was pumping out songs in his bedroom. So one song on Tall Tales that I have to say are two songs that really got me. The two of my favorites. I mean, I love them all, of course, but two of my favorites, I Wasn't Looking for You and Hold Me Close. As a matter of fact, TJ, did you write the lyrics for Hold Me Close?
I did.
Yes. The line, "For you I'd split the world in two." Awesome. Great line.
Lines that he wrote for that album too. Actually, I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was really cool when he first sent around the lyrics for that.
I think when we were trying to think of an album name, we were trying.
That was one of them.
That was one.
Yeah, that was one of the choices. But
was Split the World into.
Yeah.
The cover art would be epic. Split the world.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, the Hold Me Close. I'll get personal here. I think that's one of my songs that I think of when I think of me and my wife, because I haven't always been very healthy. I haven't always been very here. But it's like basically a song that says, you need your partner because you cannot stand on your own. And that's where it hit me. So that song has a special place in my heart. It really does. Thank you. Thank you guys for writing it. It was awesome. I showed it to my wife. She cried. She was like, "That's so sweet." Everybody was like, "Wow, that's such a great song. Who is this?" And I told them who it was. And but then there's "I Wasn't Looking for You," which is totally different. I mean, you guys go punk in that one.
We do. That was a fun one. That was like
That was actually, oddly enough, that was Lauren's idea.
It was.
And it's funny because the four guys had all been in pop punk bands while we were teenagers and stuff like that. Lauren was listening to Britney Spears.
Excuse me, it was Billy Joel.
It was Billy Joel.
She still listens to Billy Joel.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
She's like, "You know what? I'm bored. Can we make this fast?" And I think everyone kind of got like, "Ooh, that'll be fun."
Like, whoa.
That was actually the first song that Lauren and I actually sat down and wrote together. Mm-hmm. So the verses she sings, she wrote. We wrote the chorus together, and it was a lot of fun. It was cool to see that take shape. That was another one that started off very, very stripped down. It almost had a waltz feel to it.
Yeah.
And we did the whole, I don't know, punk thing.
There's trouble out there, I've seen it in your face. All the madness, it leaves an empty faith in you. Oh, in you. The little things can start to take over your life, and I admit they sometimes keep me up at night with you. Oh, with you. For you I'd split the world in two. Hold me close, don't visions and ideas, imaginary places, imaginary fears. And I'm way too young to be this bitter sort of man. So wake me up and help me do the best I can for you. Oh, for you. For you, I'd split the world in two. Hold me close. Don't leave like the rest. 'Cause I spent too much time inside my head. And I struggle with the words to make amends. When I'm feeling down, you've got to keep me close. 'Cause I'm way too tough to let my feelings go. I left my home in the valley. I left everything that I knew. I lost my way through the wicked and the strange. Well, I wasn't looking for you. Only time knew that I'd be here, feeling the summer breeze in the fall. I dropped to my knees like the densest of leaves while I wasn't looking for you. My heart's a carousel, yours is a silver bell, both hold an enchanted tune. It seems like a lullaby, chills like an autumn night, leaves us refreshed and renewed. You were a light I never thought that I'd find, 'cause I wasn't looking for you. Struggled to find resolution. The way was unbearably cruel. I trudged along singing simpler songs while I wasn't looking for you. If I could forgive the fault of my childhood, I'd never gasp at the salted beach air. The sting in my eyes, it was never a surprise while I wasn't looking for you. This here's a chapter, it's not ever after, but someday it will turn into a handwritten history book well placed upon a shelf, gracing the entire room. You were a light I never thought that I'd find, 'cause I wasn't looking for you. I wasn't looking for you. I wasn't looking for you.
Yeah, it was a build up, and then it just kind of hits you out of the blue. You're like, wait a minute, this is the same band that did All Right With Me and Hold Me Close and Heart in My Room and what? You know, it's like they're really pounding it out there. That's great. So yeah, that's another one I like is Heart in My Room and England Awaits, Los Angeles. There's so many different favorite tracks on there for me. Tall Tales is definitely in my rotation. So I see that basically the reviews on Tall Tales were... one of them, I love this, pardon my French, fuck a sophomore slump, folks. The new Accents full length is better than the last. Accents have gone from a duo to a quintet. The addition of members really expanded what they're capable of doing. Having 3 additional members has added more depth and color to what the band is doing. It's a remarkable growth in a short span of time. I agree. TJ, Jordan, Lauren... did you guys experience any growing pains at this time? I mean, it's not as though you were on every top 40 station, but you were definitely getting noticed. Was there any growing pain with you guys, or anything that was possibly difficult for you guys during this 4 years between, sending stuff through email and all of a sudden you have 2 albums on the Deep Elm label?
Yeah, our landlord.
What? Okay, explain, please.
We did have a pretty terrible landlord for a few years.
Oh, I've been there, but yeah, I mean, was there anything like difficult with, getting, for instance, like fan mail, like people actually hitting you up and saying, hey, I really like your stuff, reading your own reviews? When somebody says I have a good show, I almost look at them like, are you kidding? Because I don't get that very often, and it's kind of difficult for me to take compliments. So was there any of that as you were going along?
I think one thing I've learned over the years is that the internet is a very misleading place.
Oh, yeah.
You can read a lot of positive things about, for instance, if we're just talking about us, you can read a lot of positive things about us online, but when it comes right down to it, we're really 4 people just kind of, we're in our mid to late 20s, and we don't get fan mail, we don't get emails, we don't get calls to go on tours or anything like that. We're just kind of floating by. We're doing what we love to do. And now that being said, getting fan mail, that'd be pretty cool. We should try and do that. That'd be pretty awesome.
Send all of our mail to Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652.
I'm surprised you're saying you don't get any fan mail. I mean, you got to have some people. I mean, on your Twitter page, your Facebook page, do you guys get any hits on there? Or?
We do, yeah. No, it's always nice when you get like a
fan
positive.
mail's different now.
Yeah,
I
guess
that's different.
Yeah.
We don't get any written letters. I'd be kind of freaked out if we got some written
If
letters.
I had like a picture of you in your house, and it's like, I really like your music. I'm watching you.
No, it's always nice to see stuff. I mean, we have gotten emails before, and obviously traffic on Facebook and Twitter and things like that. It's really great to hear stuff. Stories from people who really connect with the music and all that. Yeah. But to kind of answer your question in terms of like growing pains, I think when we went into Tall Tales, we had this goal of creating an album that we were all proud of, and after that, we were probably more proud than we expected to be, and we kind of all, I don't want to say, I guess I could say overanalyze the situation, and we kind of wanted to do everything. We were like, okay, we got to play shows, we got to do this, we got to do that, and we got a little burnt out.
Yeah.
And that's partly kind of what led to stripping back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Jordan.
I think I'll speak more even generally to kind of being a musician now and being in the music industry. I think a lot of us with Tall Tales, I know myself included, kind of viewed it as like, okay, we need our ticket. We need the Growth and Squalor had this momentum. We really wanted that album that could boost us to the next level, or we don't need day jobs. We don't need, you know what I mean? We can go on tour with a great band, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think with releasing that album, it was almost a growth and maturity thing too, because with that one we kind of realized that doesn't need to be the expectation necessarily, especially in the music industry now. You can reach people with your music and reach unexpected numbers of people still, and it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to have these expectations going into it. You can have the freedom to create music that you love doing and all of that. So I think that was a big growth kind of thing that we had to deal with releasing that album was kind of learning to kind of temper expectations a little bit and just focus on the part of doing what you love in the end. That's all you really can do now in the music industry. You can't count on anything being a hit or anything like that. You just got to do it because you love doing it.
So much music out there, so many bands, and so much of it is good that it's just like, you know, a kid could hear our record, love it, and then the next week there's another new release come out that they love even more, and we kind of, you know, we're forgotten about for 6 months in their library. And that's not, I'm not saying that as a depressing thing. It's actually a very encouraging thing. You know, people are churning out better art than ever nowadays.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crap too, but
yes, there is. But but unfortunately, it seems like some of the crap gets put up to the top. I mean, I talked with Ryan Malott from 500 Miles to Memphis. You know that group of label mate. He tells a very similar story to you guys. He says that after Sunshine in a Shot Glass, he gets all this momentum. Then they record the next album, but that's where there's a difference between you guys and Ryan and 500 Miles, because Ryan, you know, they did a lot on something we've come up to nothing, or it was that album. They did a lot, and they went over the moon, and then when it didn't like, you know, send them into the stratosphere, they kind of had to rethink things. But it seems like you guys had a very similar experience. It was kind of like you had a lot of momentum from your freshman album, and then you jump to your sophomore album, and it's like you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. But then after that, you realize that, you know, it's all about the enjoyment. And Ryan came to that conclusion, as well as it sounds like you guys. And Small Tales was 2014, as well as Tall Tales, right?
Yep. Yeah, they came out. Tall Tales was in the spring, and then we released Small Tales that fall.
Right. So Small Tales, was this the material that did not make Tall Tales, or how did Small Tales come about? And were you still on kind of that sophomore album bender that we were talking about, that you and 500 Miles experienced?
Well, you know, Small Tales, I think, in releasing it was kind of us getting back to how I think TJ and Ben, when he was with the band, approached Growth and Squalor. Small Tales, I mean, it definitely had songs that we had recorded during the Tall Tales sessions. Mm-hmm. And we recorded a lot during those sessions, so we just had so many tracks.
It was 17 songs we went with,
But we loved them all. It's just we couldn't put them all. You know, we're not the kind of band where we're going to release a double album, and you know, we're not Metallica, unfortunately. So,
you know,
unfortunately, we're not Metallica. Listen, I'm the guitar player. I could say that.
Calm down.
But
thank
so
goodness.
I think Small Tales, it was you know, we had these songs. We also had a few others, Underwater and this track Down, 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 which we had actually recorded that one right before Tall Tales, and that ended up just from playing it live had been getting a lot of momentum that we didn't expect. Even though we loved that song, we hadn't included on Tall Tales. So we had all these songs left over, and this was at the point where a couple members had left, and we were just kind of like, you know, let's just get this out there, and we don't want them just sitting around anymore. We were already starting to think about new music and stuff like that. So we talked to John with the label and sent him these songs, and it was this thing where all of a sudden, again, it felt like this EP connected with people, and for some reason this release connected with a lot of people, and we got some good feedback from it, and we had no expectations whatsoever.
I think we went into it almost thinking like, not that they were throwaway tracks, so to speak, but yeah, they were kind of B-sides, stuff left over.
Yeah.
But John kind of, and he's been our biggest encourager. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but our biggest supporter.
Proponent.
Biggest
proponent, supporter, cheerleader.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, these songs are great. I mean, this is just gonna be just call it an EP, man. Don't call it a B-sides record.
And Underwater was actually originally supposed to be part of Growth and Squalor.
Yeah, that was...
Whoa.
Yeah, that was recorded during those sessions. And again, that was when we did live, and we had so much fun with it. We're like, we got to release this formally to people. Yeah.
That was one of our most popular songs live.
Yeah.
we're kind of the type of band that doesn't like to. We don't like to not release something we've finished. You know, like a lot of bands will say, "Oh, we got 30 songs going to the studio. Here's our 10-song record." It's like, okay, well, I'm a big fan of your band. What happened to the other 20 songs? You know, maybe there's something I love. We like, we go into the studio with 30 songs. We want to release all 30 of them in some respects, just because we're proud of them on some level or another.
Right. So using another Nirvana parallel, this is your incesticide. Your third your third record.
Not much Nirvana, but yes.
Your third record with some very good material on it that people would call B-sides, but that have some amazing material on it. Underwater, Down, 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 two of my favorites on this.
Someday, babe, we're gonna win this war. We'll have enough and never ask for more. Some way, babe, we're gonna take things slow. If you're leaving, darling, won't you let me know? In the silence around, calm us down. When the blood in my mouth is pouring out, pin me down, down, down. If I feel like I'm losing you, take me down, down, down. If I feel like I'm losing you, feel like I'm losing you, feel like I'm losing. Someday, babe, I'm gonna win this war. Build a life out of an open door.
Some way I'm gonna take things slow.
If I'm leaving, darling, I will let you know. And the silence around, calm us down. When the blood in my mouth is pouring out, pin me down, down, down. If I feel like I'm losing you, take me down, down, down. If I feel like I'm losing you, feel like I'm losing you, feel like I'm losing. Someday, babe, we're gonna win this war. Have enough and never ask for more. Show me again what I'm worth. Carry more gains like a curve. If your body's underwater, then it's where it ought to be. Digging through the wreckage to find heaven underneath. And if you find a place where love is not a game, then hold your breath and wait around till someone learns your name. Don't be too obscene. Tongue's not the sharpest I've seen. Better believe to find heaven underneath. If you find a place where love is not a game, hold your breath and wait around till someone learns your name. Underwater, yeah, it's where it ought to be. Your body's underwater, yeah, your body's next to me. Your body's underwater when your body's next to me. The surface was appealing, there's a devil underneath. It's tearing up the floor, swimming towards the shore. Now my body knows why it will always ask for more. And I'm gonna break your lonely heart. And I'm gonna tear your life apart. Love is such an ugly word of art. And I'm gonna tear your life, tear your life, tear your life apart.
So at this point, you're thinking, okay, we make good music. There's no doubt about that. 3 records in, we make good music. This is great. But then you lost 2 members. How did that affect? The dynamic of the band, and how did it facilitate bringing Ashley in?
It was actually a real heartbreak for all of us, I think, when all of that happened. But after that happened, we decided that we really needed, like, TJ, Jordan, and I had such similar musical tastes that we were like, we can continue on, we can go in our own direction and make the music that we all love. And we brought Ashley in, and I think we just kind of wanted to make something completely new and different that was more ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely when they first left. I mean, it stung just because it was with Tall Tales. It was a few months after Tall Tales, and I think we were all feeling the same thing. Again, what I was speaking to earlier with expectations and stuff.
Oh
and,
yeah.
The 2 of them just decided there are other things they needed to pursue, and totally understandable. But it kind of left the 3 of us like, well, we've invested so much time in this, and we have so much passion for it, and what do we do? So we had a few months. We just the past few years alone, just in our personal lives, have been crazy because we've all gotten married. We all bought houses and things like that. So we spent a few months just kind of regrouping, I think, last year towards the end of the year.
So it took a while to get back on our feet and figure out what direction we kind of wanted to go in. I don't think there was ever a question of, hey, do we keep doing this? It was kind of, how do we keep doing this?
Yeah.
And we did. We tried out some drummers, some bass players, and we met a lot of great people, a lot of good musicians. It just, in the end, it kind of just didn't. It felt like we were forcing something.
Yeah.
And to Lauren's point, Lauren, Jordan, and I, and now Ashley too, we all kind of listen to the same stuff. We like a lot of that folky Americana kind of stuff, and it's like, why try and force something? Why try and replicate something that doesn't need to be replicated anymore? Tall Tales, Small Tales, those songs are great for what they are, and if they're great songs, if you play them a little bit differently, they'll still be great songs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, that's right.
So we've been So yeah, we've been playing those live still, kind of more reimagined, more stripped down, a lot more focus on vocal harmonies, and to segue prematurely again, we've been writing a lot of new stuff with that kind of dynamic.
Oh no, segues are great for me because they give me like that. Aha! Now I can put in a song, and then we can move over to this, and it makes editing so much easier for me. So thank you very much.
So, and here's a song from Nirvana.
Oh man, I don't need Courtney Love on my butt about playing a Nirvana song.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's why I do the independent stuff. It's all free material. I couldn't believe John was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. Work with me. You can play this music." I'm like, and I saw it all, and I'm like, "Wow, this is some great stuff." And I kept telling him, I'm like, "Look, I will try and interview these bands. I'll do whatever I can to promote you guys." And he was just like, aloha, mahalo. He's cool. So very, very, very good. Now, how long have you guys been recording this new record?
Ashley, you haven't spoken much.
I don't really.
This is the part where you're in the band and you can...
Yeah. Well, I don't really know how long TJ's been working on these particular songs, but we've been recording all summer.
Okay.
Yeah, we started tracking officially in May. We started sending around the
Did pre-production
demos
stuff for at least probably 5-6 months before that, right?
Yeah, beginning of the year we really kind of
I don't really stop writing. I don't really stop staying in my bedroom. I never leave.
Still cranking away, huh, TJ?
Still cranking. 27, still cranking away. Yeah.
Hey, that's fine. 35, cranking away. Hello.
We're about 3 to 4 months into recording now, which I mean it's a long time, but it's been a daunting process this time, but in a fun way. But we've just been doing everything on our own.
Yeah,
so.
we decided to kind of take everything into our own hands. So Jordan and I went out and bought. We both have done engineering and mixing and stuff before. So we kind of went out and instead of spending money on studio time, we spent money on some nicer equipment. Kind of upgraded my home studio, and yeah, we're kind of trucking along on our own, which is, yes, as Jordan said, daunting because we're all very perfectionist type people.
Oh yeah.
So we'll record a vocal and be like, cool, and then the next day we'll be like, that's kind of shitty. Let's do it.
But that's kind of been the joy too of being able to do it this way. Is we don't have any. There's no expectations of when we need to put out the new album or anything. Like, not to say we're just going to take forever recording it. We have our own personal deadlines in mind, but it's nice to be able to have the freedom of, hey, I don't want to listen to this song for the rest of my life thinking I could have done this take differently. We can just go, hey, let's just re-record that and feel good about it. And we've also been trying to learn new instruments. TJ learned how to play the drums for this album, which is pretty ridiculous in and of itself.
Wow, go TJ, fellow drummer right here, man. I'm actually looking at my drum kit as we speak, and but I've never actually, like when I pick up the guitar, see, I have these little hands, and they just don't work with a guitar. So the drums, they work well. But TJ, how was that, learning how to play the drums? Was it difficult for you to get the timing, or was it pretty easy?
I'm going to answer that. We're going to answer that for him because he's going to say that he's terrible at it, but he learned it in like a day, and it was amazing, and he left the room.
Ashley, Jordan, and I all secretly hate TJ for his musical abilities.
That's my wife, by the way. She hates me. But if you know any good divorce lawyers, please let me know.
It was actually pretty surreal, just honestly, because we got some really cool drum performances for this album, some different stuff, and I think a lot of it is stuff that TJ has heard in his head before for some of these songs, but hasn't been able to completely communicate what the idea was, and now that he can play it, he just does it. So I think we got some very interesting stuff for this album. So I'm pretty excited about it. Like listening back to some of these.
Learning it was actually a lot of fun, and near the end when we got closer to we're gonna be recording in a week or two, it got a little stressful because I was like, crap, I gotta tighten up. And then after recording, I haven't played drums since we tracked them all, and I'm kind of like, man, I want to do that again. I want to go play drums.
Our neighbors don't want you to do that.
Yeah, that is a problem. As a matter of fact, last night next door, speaking of neighbors, our neighbors had mariachis next door. So there was no way I could do any type of work in my little home studio. So I get it, but I also have a band playing here, and yeah, it gets pretty loud, but so you guys have a full setup, drum kit, amps, everything over there, and just do your own thing, huh?
We do, yeah.
That's cool.
You know, spent all of our money and now we're poor, but we got it all, so it's been fun. It's been cool.
Hey, 32-channel mixer for a single podcast. Yeah, I know. My wife reads the statements and is like, again? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
You can get 3 Slipknots on there and still have room.
Yeah, that's 3 Slipknots. You know that's a band, right?
3 Slipknots and a Bon Iver on there.
A Bon Iver, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be recording... We're going to be recording here in a few months, and I'm actually going to submit it to John. And when he stops laughing, we'll talk about what we can do to improve. So, guys, you guys have this next album coming up. A title or anything right now, or?
We wish we could tell you something exclusively, but we have.
We
no
change
idea.
our minds every day about everything. So.
Got it.
Yeah,
I understand.
Like I said, how many songs do we have? We can tell them how many songs we're recording.
Yeah.
We are recording
15
songs.
Oh
Not
my
all of them are
gosh.
going to make the record, obviously.
Oh, okay.
And we hope to have it out early next year.
That is the goal, early next year.
I am mixing it this time, so it might be early 2018. But hopefully early next year.
I know how it goes with mixing, man. I put together a podcast with 2 tracks, and I'm like, with a razor tool, just trying to get the right thing, and it takes me a while. So,
It's a process.
anything you guys want to promote before we hit the road and say thank you? Anything you guys want to promote? Any particular pages or anything in particular?
I mean, definitely just our social media. We're on the Twitter and the Facebook, as the kids say.
And
Twitter,
Instagram,
the
we've been
Facebook.
using a lot more lately.
Or you can go to-
Instagram. We love.
We
That's
learned
our
how
favorite.
to take pictures.
We learned how to take pictures. So that's good. At all of those, it's at Accents Music.
Yes. Okay.
So
Add Accents Music. And
another it's called The Accents, and we're not them. So
there's another band called The Accents?
there is.
Yes, and they
No
happen to
kidding.
be in the same area that
They're
we
from
are.
Albany. Yeah. So.
Wow. You guys should team up,
Free
call it
promotion, fuckers.
call it the Accent Double Play or the
Bands in the area, and
They are.
since we all got married this past year and a half, 2 years, they've been on the brain everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty wild. That in the same area. I didn't know it was such a hotbed, upstate New York, for music. Rochester, Albany, all those areas, just a hotbed for music these days.
It really is. Even in Albany, we've got a pretty awesome music scene around here. A lot of bands we're friends with and stuff like that.
Almost too awesome.
Yeah, it makes it even challenging around here as far as. Because if you're like the only good band in town, when you play a local show, it's like, yeah, let's go see the only good band
Right.
in town. But when you're in a town where you've got all these awesome bands, it does make it's almost like a crowded marketplace. Like, people are going to be divided on what bands they want to see and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it's
You
like,
gotta move.
yes, you got to move. Yep.
It's like selling cereal.
Yes.
No, it's
That's what it's like.
Selling cereal.
You got Frosted Flakes, you got Rice Krispies, you got Fruit Loops, you got
But there's no
granola.
B Fruit Loops. There's no B Rice Krispies.
Yeah, there's Fruit Loops, and then there's like Fruity Rings, and Fruity
Yes.
Stars, and
Exactly.
A
all
great
sorts of
thing about
things.
being where we are, though, is that if another band asks us to play a show, it's not like we have to say, okay, we have to drive 3 hours to get there. It's just 20 minutes. And...
we're all 80-year-olds in 20-year-old bodies, so
If someone picked us up in a tour bus and was like, "Hey, you want to travel around the country?" Sure, but you're driving like a 4-door sedan down 5 hours. It's rough. It's brutal.
With a
And I miss my cats.
Oh my god.
What do you mean we don't go on until 10?
yeah, exactly. What do you mean we don't go on until 10? I need to be in bed by then.
Usually,
Yeah,
usually bands are like all want to play like last because that's the prime headline spot. We're like, can we just play as early as possible?
Right.
Like,
yeah. So we can get out to Denny's.
Early bird special.
We'll play the early bird special.
Exactly. So we can go to Denny's and then go to bed.
Exactly.
So yeah, this has been a great time with you guys. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. And individually, I like to give you guys the floor. Anything you would like to say, Lauren, Ashley, TJ, Jordan? Anything?
Ladies. Anything? I talk a lot, so I don't want to talk over there.
Well, if any Albany listeners are out there, we are playing an Albany show at the end of September.
That is true. At the end of September, we'll be playing. I don't know the exact date, but you can find it on our Facebook.
It's September 30th. I already have you guys up here.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.
September 30th, Albany, New York, at Tricentennial Park.
Yes.
Wow,
you know more about this gig than I do. That's awesome.
That'll be our first time back since when we last played show in June.
July, the end of
July.
Yeah.
So we're kind of taking the next couple months off to focus on this record, and hopefully we'll have some new material to be playing live at that one. And then honestly, besides that, I mean, just I don't know, keep your eyes and ears out for some new material coming from us in the next 6 months to 3 years or so.
Yeah. And we really appreciate you having us for the interview.
Yes, thank you so
very
much.
Very awesome. So
it's my pleasure. I've been a fan of your guys' for so long. Your guys', what kind of English am I? I've been a fan of you guys for.
I feel like I'm in an old detective movie. You guys'.
I've been a fan of you guys'. See, I've been a fan of your group ever since I got involved with Deep Elm. You guys and 500 Miles to Memphis were the ones that smacked me upside the head and said, "Hey, you got to talk to John and see what you can do." So I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you for giving me the time. This is the Emerging Artist Series with Accents. Check them out on deepelm.com as well as @AccentsMusic on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Alan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, if you don't know by now. And it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, it don't matter anyhow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on, but don't think twice, it's alright. Well, it ain't no use in turning on your light, babe, that light I never know. And it ain't no use in turning on your light, babe, from on the dark side of the road. Still I wish there was something you'd do or say to try and make me change my mind and state. We never did too much talking anyway, so don't think twice, it's alright. Well, it ain't no use in calling out my name, gal, like you never done before. And it ain't no use in calling out my name, gal, I can't hear you anymore. I'm a thinking and a wondering, walking down the road. I once loved a woman, a child I am told. I Gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. Don't think twice, it's alright.
Witness The Emergence, only on the Indie Star Network.
Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car, because I had to sell it to pay the lawyer I hired when I got busted for drunk driving. You know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun. And hey, you know what else you don't see? You don't see me leaving for work in the morning, because I missed so much time with court and everything that I got fired.
Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.